Alrighty, we've got all the wiring redone, and all the caps were changed yesterday, but I'm not sure how to read some of these resistors. Now, normally these dog bone resistors are red, body color, end color, and the dot is the multiplier. So like this one is green, black, yellow. That'll be 5, and black is 0, so 50, and yellow is 4 zeros, so 500K, I believe. And you got this one here, which is green, black, orange, so that's 5, 0, and 3 zeros, which is 50K. But these are the ones that I'm confused about. See, the body color is tan, the end is red, but then there's two colors. So it's brown, red, black, green, and I don't know how to read that. If the third one was gold or silver, then that would be the tolerance, which would be 1, 2, and nothing for a multiplier, so that should be 12 ohms. But this measures about 2.5 megs, but I'm not sure if it's out of tolerance. There's another one similar up here. I thought there was one more of the funny looking, yeah, right here. Tan body, red end, then green, and then yellow. I'm not sure how to read those, but anyway, it turns out that the little skinny green wire that was coming out of the back of the chassis was actually a replacement. This terminal is supposed to be connected to the loop antenna, as is the yellow one, so I've replaced those with some cloth covered wire, and I've put the tuning capacitor back on because that has some small wires underneath it there that go down through the chassis, and I soldered them onto the tuning cap first and then fed them through the chassis, and I got the dial cord put back on. That was actually not damaged. I'm assuming it was probably replaced at some point. So probably what I'm going to do now is the IF cans, because they have really scary rubber coated wire, and the one rattles, or it did rattle. I don't know if the piece came out. I know there's some pieces of wire up in there that, well, there's a lock washer. Maybe that's what was rattling. Of course, I don't know where that would have come from, because I got the 4 lock washers that came off of these studs, unless somebody dropped one down in there at some other point. Well, I'll put that in my little cup. So anyway, I'm going to tear apart probably this one first, just because it's the smashed one and I want to see what's broken there. If anything, maybe it was just that lock washer. That would be nice. Alrighty, I'll catch back up with you guys in a few minutes. Thought maybe you guys would like to see the inside of one of these. Well, some of you probably never had one apart. There's basically a tuned coil. This one is not adjustable. Some of them are adjustable. There's a hole down in the center that you can put a tool and turn the slug that's in there. There's a coil of wire here and a coil of wire here. And they're very, very, very fine. And they connect to these terminals. And it's basically just a little transformer. And then in the end of this, you can see there's 2 screws here and here, and those are trimmer caps. Basically all it is there's one of the terminals comes up and bends this way, then there's a piece of mica, which is an insulator, and then the other terminal bends this way, and then the screw, there's an insulating, another piece of mica, and that way when you draw the screw up, it squeezes those 2 plates together on the mica, or lets them off if you loosen the screw, and it changes the capacitance value, and that'll affect how this is tuned to resonate. And that's how you align the radio, is you turn these screws and adjust them so that this oscillates at whatever frequency it's designed to oscillate at, because over time these capacitors, the mica will get a little bit off. Dirt and dust can probably affect that. And the other components that I've changed, the capacitors and stuff, will affect how this needs to oscillate. So just thought you'd want to see what the inside looks like. I've already replaced the one wire here. I have yellow and white and blue. I don't have green, so I'm going to use a light. I have this lighter colored blue that's almost a green. We'll use that. I was going to use black, but that would maybe get confusing for somebody else to work on it later. It's best to try to keep the same colors as it originally had, just for posterity's sake. Alright, we've got the IF cans cleaned up and reinstalled with new wires. Got all the tubes tested and cleaned up and reinstalled. They all test quite strong. The output tube is supposed to be a 35L6 GT, which is basically like a 6L6, except it's got 35 volts for the filament. But this is a 50L6 in here. It's supposed to be a 35L6. I don't know if that was done on purpose, because what that would do is that would lower the voltage on the tubes, on the filaments, because instead of being 35 volts, you're dropping 50 volts across this tube, because they're all wired in series and then put across the AC line. I don't know if that was done on purpose, like I said, but by design they're supposed to drop 116 volts across all the tubes. There is a resistance in series, 60 ohms I believe the schematic said, that'll drop 10 extra volts. So if you add up the tube numbers, it only comes out to 106. So the extra 10 volts makes it 116. Higher voltage will cause the tubes to wear faster. So I don't know if they put the 50L6 in there to try to help with that. It won't matter with the high voltage though, because that's derived from the power line as well. But it's all put together except for the tin piece that goes on here and the dial face. I have the dial face right over here. It's actually made out of cardboard or paperboard, which is kind of strange. But it looks like it's painted. You know, it's a tin foil over cardboard, and then it looks like it's been painted. So I'm not sure how I want to clean this up. Probably very, very carefully. Maybe I'll just dust it off and we'll call that good enough. And I'm going to paint the tin shield, because that was like chrome plated. It's probably not chrome, but it's very shiny, and it's kind of tarnished in some spots, and it won't clean up. And there's some rust that was on it that I cleaned off, but it's dull in those areas and it doesn't look very good. So I'm going to paint that up with some Rust-Oleum chrome paint. But we're just about to the point to connect this up and see what we get. I don't have the loop antenna that would go on here, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that, because there's supposed to be about 1 ohm resistance between there, and I'm assuming that that's going to affect the radio, you know, the operation. So I may take like this loop of wire that I have here and put a resistor in series with it, just to make sure that there's not a direct short between those two wires, and see if that will make it operate. Alrighty. So the setup we've got was, I've got my B&K VTVM on the DC supply bus, which is between the terminal there is called X on the schematic. It's not actually the chassis. And the red one is on the B+ line. I've got it plugged into my Variac. It could possibly be a hot chassis. One lead is connected to the chassis, and I've got that lead polarized so that it should be neutral, but just to be on the safe side, we don't touch the chassis and ground, which is the case of that, or the terminal power strip here, or anything that might be ground. We don't touch, because I don't have an isolation transformer yet. It's on my list of things to get or build. So yeah, we're going to power this up and see what we get. So we'll turn that on. Take her up to about 50 volts. And we can see that the dial lamp is illuminating. Don't see anything else though. I got no voltage on the DC